Chapter 51. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yun Jing'an was increasingly mystified by Qin Yu. He figured that with the price Qin Yu had just paid Qiao Jinghua for her shares, the stock he was now holding was worth close to $50 billion. That meant Qin Yu was about to drop nearly $80 billion today. Even the heirs of mega-rich families with hundreds of billions wouldn't be able to throw around that kind of cash. A rare smile crept across Yun Jing'an's face. All right, in that case, I agree to transfer my shares in Jiangyun Hotel to you. Yun Jing'an was pretty pleased with the outcome. Selling the stock at this price would give him a huge influx of capital to expand his other businesses, open up the market, and strengthen the Yun family's position. Of course, if he'd just snagged Qiao Jinghua's shares, he wouldn't have been so quick to sell. And if he'd known beforehand that Qin Yu controlled the shares of Wenxiu Commercial Bank, Qin Yu wouldn't have gotten such an easy deal with Qiao Jinghua. Han Xian was over the moon. She hadn't expected Qin Yu to end up acquiring all the shares in Jiangyun Hotel. Now, as the hotel's general manager, she'd have no obstacles in her way. Mtlnovel was the only one who looked ashamed. He hadn't seen things playing out like this. How could this Mr. Qin be so ruthless, willing to overpay so drastically to acquire the entire Jiangyun Hotel? If this was all to get rid of him as general manager, and the whole acquisition plan was pulled off in a day or two, Mtlnovel felt like he was too small to deserve this kind of treatment. The thought made him feel faint. He hoped that wasn't the case. Being the general manager of a 7-star hotel was one thing, but he was terrified that Mr. Qin could ruin his life in Nanjiang City with a single word. They quickly estimated the price of the 40% stake, $48 billion. Ms. Wang, the CFO, drafted the contract in triplicate. After both parties signed, Yun Jing'an provided an account number. Yun Jing'an initially suggested that Qin Yu not pay the entire amount up front, but rather put down a $40 million deposit, 4.8%, and wait for the CFO to complete the equity transfer formalities. Then, the remaining $40+ billion could be transferred from the company account. Qin Yu smiled knowingly and turned down the suggestion. Director Yun, don't bother. I trust you. Is $48 billion really that much? I'll just wire it over. He pulled out his phone and pretended to initiate the transfer. Is $48 billion really that much? That line stung Yun Jing'an and everyone else in the room. Compared to Mr. Qin, they were practically paupers. System, transfer $48 billion to Yun Jing'an's bank account. Qin Yu said mentally. Ding, transfer successful. Qin Yu glanced at the system panel. Sure enough, another $48 billion had been deducted from his system balance, leaving him with over $62 billion. He smiled at Yun Jing'an. Director Yun, I've transferred the full $48 billion to your account. Please check. That was fast. Yun Jing'an couldn't help but be surprised. He grabbed his phone and made a call. The account Qin Yu transferred the money to wasn't Yun Jing'an's personal account, but rather the Yun family treasury, a company account. After the call, Yun Jing'an confirmed that Qin Yu wasn't lying and had indeed transferred $48 billion, nearly $50 billion, paid in one go from a personal account. Even after Qin Yu had swiped $30 billion for Qiao Jinghua, he had once again blown Yun Jing'an's mind. Typically, large transactions exceeding $1 billion are rarely done privately, they go through the company's finances. First, it's safer, and there's legal backing. Second, very few people have personal bank accounts with the authority to transfer such vast sums at once. At that moment, Yun Jing'an's attitude toward Qin Yu became even more polite. Their initial meeting had been a face-off, but now he was practically fawning over him. Putting aside whatever was behind Qin Yu, he was a literal money god. Mr. Qin, now that you wholly own Jiangyun Hotel, I should step down as chairman. Given that we've met as old friends, can I ask you to call me Brother Yun? And you should just call me brother as well. Yun Jing'an said with a hearty laugh. Brother Yun, you're too kind. I'll take you up on that, Qin Yu said, smiling. Brother Qin is a straightforward guy. Come visit the Yun family sometime so I can show you some hospitality. Okay, definitely. The two chatted pleasantly, and Qin Yu flashed a genuine smile. How could he not be happy? The level 5 sign-in was in the bag. Ms. Wang, the CFO, had already left, taking the relevant information to process the transfer of the 2 stakes into Qin Yu's name. It was still 11 in the morning, so there was plenty of time to get it done. Ma Yichuan, who had been standing silently, didn't dare to show any resentment toward Qin Yu. If he had any dissatisfaction, he kept it buried deep. Maybe it was his sister, Ma Wenxiu's fault. If it weren't for her, he wouldn't have offended Qin Yu and lost his position as general manager of Jiangyun Hotel. He'd always been cautious, but in the end, it hadn't been enough. Yun Jing'an glanced at Ma Yichuan, who looked pale. He thought for a moment and said, Ma Yichuan, you've done a decent job running this hotel these past few years. Even though you can't be the general manager here anymore, come work for me. I have a newly established company that would be a good fit for you. However, the perks there are nowhere near what you got as the general manager of a 7-star hotel, and your salary and bonus would only be at the level of a department manager here. Are you interested? Of course, if you don't want to, I won't force it. It's up to you. Ma Yichuan gave a wry smile and said, thank you, Ma Dong. I'm willing to follow you. Yun Jing'an nodded, then turned and smiled at Qin Yu again. Brother Qin, you don't mind if I take Ma Yichuan, do you? Of course not. Whatever Brother Yun says. How about this, Ma Yichuan? You and Han Xian can handle the handover first, and after it's done, you can collect your annual salary for this year before you go. Thank you, Mr. Qin. Then, Ma Yichuan and Han Xian left together, leaving Qin Yu and Yun Jing'an to sip tea in the office. A few minutes later, Ma Yichuan returned. Yun Jing'an got up to say goodbye and leave. Before leaving, they exchanged contact information with Qin Yu and took Ma Yichuan out together. Qin Yu sat quietly. Once Yun Jing'an was gone, he finally opened the system panel to check. The result was disappointing. The system tray still showed the task as incomplete. He figured the task wouldn't be completed until the equity transfer was done and Jiangyun Hotel was officially in his name. Suppressing his slight disappointment, he took a sip of tea. The office door opened, and 2 beautiful women walked in. Mr. Qin. Boss, I'm back. It was Han Xian and Tang Qin. Chapter 52 Waiting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You guys are here. Have a seat. Qin Yu gestured for them to sit across from him. Then, turning to Tang Qin, he asked, have you picked out the office for the new company yet? Yeah, we decided on the top floor of Building B in Huajiang Plaza. Great location, and it just happened to be available. Mr. Jiang and I both liked it. I wasn't sure if you'd want to see it first, though. Nah, if you like it, that's good enough for me. It's just a temporary space anyway. We'll need to move to something bigger once the company takes off. Han Xian chimed in, Mr. Qin, what new company are you talking about? I'm totally lost. Tang Qin smiled. Sister Xian, the boss hasn't filled you in yet. I guess it's my turn. As the GM of Jiangyun Hotel, you should be in the loop. Spill it, Tang Qin. So, Tang Qin explained to Han Xian about Qin Yu's plan to launch an investment company and her role in managing it. She also mentioned that Qin Yu owned Huajiang Plaza. Han Xian didn't react much at first, but when she realized that Qin Yu owned Huajiang Plaza, her eyes widened in shock. Mr. Qin, she exclaimed, I had no idea. You not only dropped over $100 billion to snag Jiangyun Hotel, but you also own Huajiang Plaza, worth $40 billion. You're a real silent operator, a mega-rich guy worth nearly $200 billion. So, you're saying the boss now owns 100% of Jiangyun Hotel, Tang Qin added, her eyes sparkling as she looked at Qin Yu with newfound admiration. Yep, Mr. Qin's got deep pockets. He shelled out $30 billion for Mr. Qiao's shares and another $48 billion for Yun Jing'an's stake. Too bad you weren't there to see it. You would have been even more smitten by Mr. Qin's king-like aura. Sister Xian, stop teasing. But I'm still shocked the boss dropped so much cash on the hotel. Hey, enough, Qin Yu said, blushing slightly at their playful banter, asterisk can't they see the Alpha CEO sitting right here, asterisk he thought. Asterisk how can these two be so casual? Am I not intimidating enough, or am I just too damn handsome? Seeing the two women compose themselves and look at him seriously, Qin Yu got down to business. Tang Qin will handle the new company's registration. We're calling it Tianyu Investment. Jiangyun Hotel and Huajiang Plaza will become holding subsidiaries within the Tianyu investment system. Han Xian, you'll continue as GM of Jiangyun Hotel. I'm giving you full authority over the hotel's operations. Your salary and bonus will match the previous GM's. Impress me, and you'll get promoted. Han Xian quickly thanked him. Thank you, Mr. Qin. Tang Qin, in addition to being my assistant, you'll also be the GM of Tianyu Investment and Vice Chairman of Jiangyun Hotel and Huajiang Plaza. Once the company's integrated, we'll set up a board of directors for Tianyu Investment. I'll set aside some shares to reward long-time managers, including both of you. As for Tang Qin's salary, Qin Yu continued, let's bump it up to $300 million annually, from the originally agreed $100 million. You can take $100 million out of the $1 billion first. Figuring that the salary could also be used for system tasks, Qin Yu said generously. Boss, thank you. Tang Qin exclaimed, as if in a dream, upon hearing about the $100 million, with a $100 million salary and these key positions, she was on top of the world. Qin Yu added, Han Xian, draft 2 appointment letters for both of you in the hotel, give them to me to sign, and then make it official. Finally, he asked, anything else? Mr. Qin, should I call you chairman or boss from now on? Han Xian asked with a smile. Just boss is fine. Got it, boss. Han Xian continued, with both the hotel's boss and GM changing, only one VP knows about it. The rest of the staff is still in the dark. I was planning to hold a meeting later to make the official announcement. What do you think? I'll skip it. Have Tang Qin go in my place. Tang Qin will be my assistant, so if you need anything, you can go to her directly. Qin Yu didn't want to waste his time managing the property, registering the company and making Tang Qin his spokesperson. All of this wasn't to make his business empire bigger or stronger, but to make it easier for him to invest and spend money on system tasks. He could sign in, then leave the companies, shares, and properties to Tang Qin. Wouldn't it be great to be a hands-off owner, a lazy bum who only knows how to spend money? Okay, boss, we'll get back to work. Han Xian glanced at Tang Qin, and the two women got up and left. 10 minutes later, Tang Qin returned with the 2 appointment letters. Qin Yu signed them, and she left again. Qin Yu checked the system panel. The task acquisition of Jiangyun Hotel, not completed, was still active. He looked at the time. It was almost noon. Do I have to wait until the afternoon? Guess there's no rush. Qin Yu sighed, pulled out his new phone, and opened Weiwei. 3 unread messages. First, from Jiang Xian at 2 a.m., confirming the money transfer. Second, from Kong Xiaoi, saying she'd found a nanny with manager Zhu's help and asking when to bring her over. Qin Yu replied, don't sweat it. I'm out now. Bring her when I get back. The third was from Li Yan, sent around 11 p.m. last night. Clicking on it, he saw that Li Yan apologized for missing his message, explaining she'd been in the shower. She asked if he was still awake, then offered to sing for him or send a selfie. Finally, she'd posted a few photos. Qin Yu scrolled down, and when he saw the racy shots, he nearly choked on his tea. His eyes widened. There were photos of her as a serious, executive type, making silly faces, wearing a bikini, and one where she was wearing thin pajamas that showed off her long, slender, white legs. Qin Yu usually saw plenty of photos like that, but from a former college classmate, it felt different. Damn, is this a blatant invitation? He didn't expect his plain female classmate to be so hot. Should I text her back? Qin Yu thought about it but decided against it. Right now, he just needed to complete the system tasks. Everything else could wait. Qin Yu casually saved the photos to his phone, then closed the app. Chapter 53. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as he was about to check out Dolang and scroll through videos to kill time, his phone rang. It was Jiang Xian. Hey, Qin Yu, you done with work? Hua and I are at the Jiangyun Hotel, 3rd floor, in private room 6. We're about to grab some food. Come join us if you're free. We'll wait for you. Sounds good, I'm on my way. Hearing Jiang Xian's invitation, Qin Yu realized he was hungry too. He hung up, got up, and headed straight for the special elevator to the 3rd floor. As Qin Yu searched for room 6, a surprised voice called out his name from behind. Hey, Junqiao, isn't that Qin Yu? That old middle school classmate from the reunion last time? You're right. I wouldn't have recognized him if you hadn't said his name, another guy replied. The name Junqiao rang a bell for Qin Yu. He turned around, confirming his suspicions. Well, look who it is, Li Junqiao and Gu Qianqi. What a coincidence, old classmates. Qin Yu, long time no see. You here for dinner too? Before Qin Yu could answer, Gu Qianqi seemed to remember something. Oh, that's right. Su Li mentioned you're working at a hotel now. Come to think of it, this must be the place. It's a 7-star hotel, so the pay must be decent. Easy there, Qianqi. Just because it's a fancy hotel doesn't mean a handyman makes the big bucks, Li Junqiao said dismissively. Good point. Gu Qianqi nodded, looking at Qin Yu, her face softened with a mixture of pity and regret. Qin Yu, we all know you and Su Li broke up. If you ever need anything, we're friends. We're happy to help out if we can. Thanks for the offer, Gu. But I'm doing just fine. Life's pretty good. Qin Yu wasn't a big fan of these two. He could see the condescension in their eyes, especially Li Junqiao's. Back in middle school, Li Junqiao was the teacher's pet, the heartthrob, and the envy of every other guy. He aced his classes, had that golden boy aura, and was a leader both in class and at school. To top it all off, his dad was a big-shot businessman in Shacheng, making a killing in construction. He was the complete package, rich, smart, and good-looking. What girl wouldn't fall for that? Especially Su Li, who chased after him from day one of middle school. Her crush was one of the main reasons Qin Yu couldn't stand the guy. Just when it seemed like Su Li was about to win Li Junqiao over in the 3rd year, Gu Qianqi transferred in and stole the show. Gu Qianqi came from a good family and was even prettier than Su Li, instantly dethroning her as the class beauty and becoming the school's it girl. Naturally, the school hunk and the head turner ended up together, making everyone jealous. After middle school, Li Junqiao and Gu Qianqi went to the same high school, and Qin Yu lost track of them. At the class reunion last year, they showed up together, naturally becoming the center of attention. Word got around that Li Junqiao's dad's company, Tianhu Real Estate, was worth billions, making the least the richest family in Shacheng. Everyone saw Li Junqiao as the golden boy who could do no wrong. When Su Li heard the news, she was floored, and that's when she said yes to Qin Yu's confession. Qianqi, let's not bother our old classmate while he's working. We've got to run and meet some bigwigs and talk about billion-dollar deals. Li Junqiao dismissed Qin Yu and addressed Gu Qianqi. Okay, Junqiao. Qin Yu, gotta run. Catch you later. They grabbed hands and walked past Qin Yu. Gu Qianqi glanced back at Qin Yu, still standing there, then looked back at Li Junqiao. She couldn't help but sigh. They used to be in the same class, but now their lives were worlds apart. Li Junqiao always stood out, but if it weren't for his ex-girlfriend Su Li, she never would have remembered Qin Yu. Room 6 on the 3rd floor of the Jiangyun Hotel was a lavishly decorated medium-sized private dining room. The peacock feather chandelier oozed extravagance, and the wall coverings and flooring were fit for royalty. 4 people sat at the table. One was a middle-aged man with a gut, thinning hair, and a flushed face, Li Dezhou, owner of Tianhu Real Estate and Li Junqiao's father. Qin Yu also knew the other 3. At the head of the table sat Chao Jinghua, and on the right was Chen Jihang, general manager of Huaxing Pharmaceutical, with Jiang Xian at the foot. The 4 were sipping tea and chatting. Mr. Chao, you mentioned a friend was coming. Wondering who it is. Please introduce me later. Li Dezhou smiled, pouring half a cup of tea for everyone. Qiao Jinghua replied, truth be told, I'm also meeting him for the first time today. Even though he's not from around here, he comes from a good background. Be sure to give him some respect. Mr. Qiao, what are you saying? Your friends are my guests. I wouldn't dream of disrespecting them. Li Dezhou said quickly. Qiao Jinghua looked at Chen Zhihang, who was calm as could be, and continued, we've done business together, so I know why you're here today. Mr. Chen invited you. We're all on the same side. Let's cut the small talk and get down to business. Yes, Mr. Qiao, get straight to the point. I'm just beating around the bush. Li Dezhou quickly apologized, smiling at Chen Zhihang. Mr. Chen, I invited you today as a favor to Mr. Qiao. I'm hoping you'll invest and help develop the new phase of Tianhu Century City. I'm wondering if you might be interested. Chen Zhihang took a sip of his tea, smiling faintly. Mr. Li, you're joking. Phase 2 of Tianhu Century City is a massive project, even bigger than the first. I heard the investment exceeds $150 billion. I'm just a cog in the machine, how could I possibly be involved in something so huge? Tianhu Real Estate is one of the top 10 developers in Nanjiang City. Even if $150 billion is a lot, you can still manage it. Can't you get financing? Li Dezhou sighed. Mr. Chen, you see, the first phase of Tianhu Century City drained nearly all of Tianhu Real Estate's cash reserves. We even borrowed a lot from the bank. In the end, Mr. Qiao invested $20 billion and the project was completed. While sales start tomorrow, the cash flow won't be immediate. Especially since pre-sales aren't great, with only 150 units sold, far from the expected 500. That's the real reason I'm asking my brother for investment. We acquired the land in the new urban area last year, still on loan, and we're waiting for investment to start construction. The bank can't lend us any more money for now, and we're short on funding, so I'm worried. Today, I can only shamelessly ask my brother for help. Chapter 54 Waiter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So why not just hold off on the new project for a bit? We can start building once the money comes back, Chen Zhihang asked, puzzled. Li Dezhou sighed, Mr. Chen, we've already put a ton of money into getting that new land ready. It's Tianhu Real Estate's big project this year. The whole company's been working on this for months, all the people and equipment are ready to go. If we delay now, we'll have thousands of people waiting to get paid. The longer we wait, the more money the company loses. Chen Zhihang, being a GM himself, understood the situation. Nodding, he asked, so how much more money do you need for this new development? Li Dezhou replied, we dropped 220 billion yuan on that 20 mu of land. We're planning to build over 40 apartment buildings, plus schools and commercial buildings. Total investment is around 230 billion. Right now, we're short 160 billion. He continued, we just need enough to get started. In a few months, the money from the first phase of sales will start coming in, and we'll be good to go. Chen Zhihang clarified, so, you're saying you only need the initial funds for the land development? You don't need the entire development budget up front? Exactly. Li Dezhou elaborated, we need 90 billion to kick things off, not counting the land. Tianhu Real Estate's already put in 50 billion, so we're still short 40 billion. If Mr. Qiao and Mr. Chen could cover that 40 billion together, we'd be set. As for the shares, we can split them however you want. Chen Zhihang inquired, there are already a bunch of properties for sale in the new district, and a lot more under construction. If we build too many homes, won't we end up with unsold units or even lower prices down the road? He glanced at Qiao Jinghua, almost testing him. Qiao Jinghua took a sip of tea, smiling, no need to worry about that. There's buzz around Nanjiang City's General Affairs Office that Jingyun District's new city is going to be the next big industrial zone. They're planning an industrial park, and Science City is just going to keep growing. The more jobs, the higher the demand for housing. Chen Zhihang followed up, young Master Qiao seems pretty high on this new Tianhu real estate project. How much are you planning to invest? Qiao Jinghua said, I really am a believer in this project. In fact, when Director Li told me they still needed more funds for the new development, I sold my shares in Jiangyun Hotel. I'm planning to drop 20 billion yuan into this. I'd put in another billion if I didn't have other projects needing cash, and if we hadn't been waiting for the first wave of profits from Tianhu Century City to roll in. 20 billion, Chen Jihang was caught off guard, not expecting Qiao Jinghua to pony up that much. After a moment, he said, well, I can only swing 20 million in cash. I'll hand that over to Mr. Li. Li Dezhou was clearly disappointed. He and Qiao Jinghua had already discussed Qiao's 20 billion. Chen Jihang's 20 million was way below what he'd hoped for. He had been banking on Chen Jihang contributing 20 billion as well, but if it was just 20 million, it might not even be worth it. Just then, a man and a woman walked into the room, Li Junxiao and Gu Qianqi. Dad. Hello, uncle. They both greeted Li Dezhou. You made it. Seeing his son and future daughter-in-law arrive, Li Dezhou stood up with a smile and introduced them around. Let me introduce you. This is my son, Li Junxiao, and his girlfriend, Gu Qianqi. This is the young owner of Huaxing Pharmaceutical, and a partner of Tianhu Real Estate, Mr. Qiao Jinghua. And I think you all know him, Chen Jihang, the general manager of Huaxing Pharmaceutical. And this is Yun family's second son, Jiang Xian. Li Junxiao and Gu Qianqi looked eager to impress. They bowed to each person as Li Dezhou introduced them, saying, It's an honor, Mr. Qiao. Hello, Mr. Chen. Hi, young Master Jiang. Qiao Jinghua and the others just nodded, acknowledging the introductions. Jiang Xian, who'd been buried in his phone, suddenly found himself included. He'd been ignored so far, but now these two were greeting him. He even bothered to say a few words to Li Junxiao. But once he heard that Li Junxiao was now the deputy general manager of Tianhu Real Estate, his interest evaporated. Li Junxiao and Gu Qianqi didn't seem bothered by this, remaining polite and enthusiastic. Li Dezhou had built a fortune of nearly tens of billions on Tianhu Real Estate, but in Nanjiang City, he was still seen as just an upstart, lacking the deep roots of the truly wealthy families in the area. Li Junxiao had been in Nanjiang City for years, but had found it hard to break into the inner circle of the local rich kids. It was mainly because his family's wealth was based on real estate development, which was looked down upon. They were still considered outsiders, lacking the right connections, and had been constantly excluded, but most importantly, he needed a guide. He'd heard of Mr. Qiao for ages, the leader of the second-generation rich kids here. If he could get on good terms with Qiao, Li Junxiao's status would skyrocket. And he'd be even further ahead of his old junior high classmates. Junxiao, since you're the deputy GM of Tianhu Real Estate, why don't you walk us through the development plan for the second phase of Tianhu Century City? Once Li Junxiao and Gu Qianqi were seated, Li Dezhou instructed. Sure thing, Dad. Li Junxiao cleared his throat, straightened up, and said, Let me give you a brief overview. He went on, detailing everything from the preparations before construction to the pre-sales and the eventual profits, explaining it all painstakingly. Just then, the door to the room opened, and Qin Yu, who had been searching for a while, finally found room 888. He opened the door, scanned the people around the table, and immediately spotted Li Junxiao and Gu Qianqi facing the door. He couldn't help but be surprised these two had come to the same place as him. If he'd only known to come with them, he wouldn't have had so much trouble finding the right room. Gu Qianqi had been listening to Li Junxiao's smooth presentation, but seeing the door open and Qin Yu walk in, she was stunned for a moment. Then it hit her, what a coincidence. She figured Qin Yu was probably working as a waiter here, coming in to ask if they wanted to order food. Seeing that Li Junxiao had just finished speaking, she nudged him and motioned him to look at Qin Yu. Li Junxiao saw Qin Yu and had the same thought. He was just a waiter. He smiled slightly and said to everyone, Looks like the waiter's here. I guess it's time to order, right? Hearing this, Li Dezhou's face changed, and he looked at Qiao Jinghua, seeking confirmation. Qiao Jinghua looked annoyed and was about to say something when Jiang Xian spoke up, sounding displeased. What's the rush? Brother Qin hasn't even gotten here yet. It's still early. We'll wait till he arrives. Li Junxiao panicked a bit. He hadn't realized someone else was coming, someone close to Mr. Jiang. He blamed himself for jumping the gun. He quickly tried to smooth things over. I'm so sorry, young Master Jiang. It's my mistake. I didn't know you were waiting for someone. I'll send the waiter away and tell him to come back later. He shot a disapproving look at Qin Yu, who was walking towards them, but before he could say anything, Qin Yu's slightly apologetic voice rang out. Jiang Xian, Brother Hua, sorry I'm late. Did I keep you waiting? Chapter 55 Mr. Qin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yo, Qin's here. Jiang Xian jumped up when he heard the voice and greeted Qin Yu with a big smile. Man, I've been bored out of my mind, waiting for you to show up. Come on, have a seat. He grabbed Qin Yu's hand, motioning him to sit where he'd been sitting. Qiao Jinghua also stood and shook Qin Yu's hand enthusiastically. Qin, glad you could make it. Sit down, I want you to meet a couple of friends. Don't be so formal, Qiao. I'm late anyway, I'll just hang with Jiang Xian, Qin Yu said, laughing. Li Junxiao and Gu Qianqi, still seated, were completely dumbfounded by the warm welcome. Wasn't Qin Yu just a waiter? Jiang and Qiao knew him. Qin Yu was the guy they'd been waiting for. Their minds were reeling, and the shock was just beginning. Chen Jihang practically leaped to his feet, looking at Qin Yu with a mix of surprise, delight, and respect. He hurried over, acting even friendlier than Jiang Xian. Mr. Qin, what a coincidence, you know Qiao too, Mr. Qin. The room went silent, not young Master Qin, but Mr. Qin. It was clear that Chen Jihang held Qin Yu in very high regard, seeing him as more than just an equal. Jiang Xian's eyes bugged out. Dude, spill it. What other hidden identity are you keeping from us? You know Chen, and he calls you Mr., if I stick with you, am I gonna catch some of that shine? Qin Yu ignored Jiang Xian. Turning to Chen Jihang, he said with a smile, Chen, please, drop the Mr., makes me uncomfortable. We've met before, just call me Qin. Chen Jihang jumped at the chance. In that case, consider us friends. How about we drop the formalities, call each other brothers? If you insist, Brother Chen. Li Dezhou hadn't dared to sit since Qiao Jinghua stood up. His face cycled through curiosity, surprise, and then outright shock. Now, a smile plastered on his face, he stood respectfully behind Chen Jihang. This is the host for tonight, Li Dezhou, chairman of Tianhu Real Estate Group. And this is Mr. Qin Yu. Chen Jihang made the introductions. Hello, Mr. Qin. Good to meet you, Li. Thanks for having us, hope we're not too much trouble, Qin Yu said. Not at all, Mr. Qin. Having you here is an honor, Li Dezhou said with a chuckle, a hint of flattery in his voice. Cut the Mr. Qin stuff, call me Qin, or just my name. The Mr. thing is just gonna confuse people. Alright, young Master Qin. Li Junxiao stared blankly. He couldn't believe what was happening. This was his old classmate, the one he used to look down on, now being showered with praise by his own father, who was Qin Yu, this poor kid from a small rural county under Shacheng. And his father, a well-known figure, the richest man in Shacheng. It was like their positions had flipped, with Qin Yu now the big shot. Gu Qianqi nudged her twice, bringing her back to reality, and she quickly stood up. Regardless of what she thought, she couldn't stay seated when everyone else was standing. After everyone settled down again, Qin Yu sat next to Jiang Xian. Mr. Qin, allow me to introduce you to my son, Li Junxiao, and his girlfriend, Gu Qianqi. Li Dezhou went out to instruct a waiter to bring the food, then hurried back to introduce his son to Qin Yu. Li Junxiao and Gu Qianqi didn't dare to take it lightly. They stood again, saying awkwardly, young Master Qin, hello. Qin Yu just smiled and nodded, not revealing that they were his old classmates. Gu Qianqi's gaze was complex, her heart a mix of emotions. Earlier, she'd lamented the growing gap between Qin Yu and Li Junxiao, like opposite ends of a seesaw. Now, she realized how naive she'd been. Qin Yu was the real deal, keeping a low profile, while they were the ones putting on a show. Li Junxiao, I seem to recall you calling Qin a waiter earlier. Where are your eyes? Jiang Xian's blunt remark broke the silence. Li Junxiao's face fell, unsure how to respond. Junxiao, that was rude. Apologize to young Master Qin, Li Dezhou snapped. Qin, young Master Qin, I misspoke. I apologize, Li Junxiao mumbled, bowing his head reluctantly. Qin Yu stared silently at Li Junxiao, who'd been so full of himself just moments ago. Now, he was forced to apologize with a crestfallen expression. Qin Yu felt an undeniable sense of satisfaction. After a moment, he said, no need to apologize. We're former classmates. You know I'm from the sticks. It's understandable that you'd mistake me for a waiter. Qin Yu also revealed something about himself. So, you're old classmates. Li Dezhou looked surprised and asked curiously, which school did you go to? I never expected Junxiao to have a classmate like Qin. Chao Jinghua, Chen Jihang, and Jiang Xian all looked at him expectantly. Let me answer that, uncle. Qin, Junxiao, and I were junior high classmates in Shacheng, Gu Qianqi said. While talking, Gu Qianqi and Li Junxiao sat down again. Young Master Qin went to junior high in Shacheng. I wonder if you're also from Shacheng. If so, then we're all from the same hometown, Li Dezhou said, laughing. You're right, Li. My hometown is Qinjiazhuang in Shacheng, Qin Yu said frankly. That's great. Young Master Qin and Junxiao are classmates, and we both belong to Shacheng. You have to visit our Li family sometime. I'll make sure to roll out the red carpet. I might just take you up on that, Qin Yu said, smiling. As they talked, steaming delicacies and several bottles of expensive liquor were served one after another. Hearing that Qin Yu came from the countryside, Li Dezhou's attitude shifted subtly, becoming less enthusiastic than before. Chao Jinghua didn't seem to notice, but Chen Jihang maintained his respectful demeanor toward Qin Yu. The wine was excellent, and the dishes were top-notch. After a few rounds of drinks, Jiang Xian couldn't resist asking, so, Qin, how's the Jiangyun Hotel acquisition coming along? You bought Chao's shares, are you planning to acquire any others? Chao Jinghua looked surprised. Qin, are you still planning to acquire more shares in Jiangyun Hotel? Li Dezhou was also taken aback. Chao, are you saying you sold your shares in Jiangyun Hotel to Qin? Yep, Qin bought my shares for 30 billion. Chapter 56 Investing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 30 billion, Li Dezhou's surprise was obvious. Chao, are you kidding me? I thought we were talking about 20 billion the other day. That's the price I worked out with Yun, but Qin here came in today with deep pockets and dropped 30 billion to snatch my shares. I see, Li Dezhou said, his eyes lighting up as he looked at Qin. Qin, you haven't answered my question yet. Was Jiang right? Do you want to buy all the shares in Jiangyun Hotel? Chao Jinghua asked, turning back. Jiang's telling the truth, Qin Yu said. My initial plan was to buy the entire hotel outright, and it looks like that's happening. I have to thank you for being willing to sell me your shares. Otherwise, this might not have been possible. So, how much did you end up spending in total? Chao Jinghua asked, taken aback. Just the amount of the deal with you. 120 billion. Chao Jinghua asked, hardly believing it. That's right, Qin Yu confirmed. His phone suddenly rang. It was Wang, the financial director of Jiangyun Hotel. She told him that the equity transfer had been completed, and the hotel was now in Qin Yu's name. He owned 100% of the equity and was also the legal representative. She'd called Yun Zhenong to discuss the taxes and fees from the transfer, and Yun had suggested using the hotel's company fund to cover more than 8 million yuan. Basically, it was all done. Hearing this, Qin Yu understood that Yun Zhenong was trying to curry favor. He didn't really care about the 8 million anyway. He had more money than he knew what to do with, and it seemed Yun was just being overly helpful. Regardless, he was still stoked. The level 5 check-in was happening. Putting down his phone, he also saw a message confirming Jiangyun Hotel was now his. He told Qiao Jinghua, "Just got a call from the hotel's financial director. The transfer is complete. Jiangyun Hotel is officially mine." As soon as he said that, everyone there knew it. The place where they were sitting, a 7-star hotel worth 120 billion yuan, belonged entirely to Qin Yu. Jiang Xian and Chen Jihang already knew it. The other knew it well, and there was no difference, and they took it for granted. The news hit Li Junxiao and Gu Qianxi the hardest. They'd sensed Qin Yu's unusual status, and while surprised, they could still accept it. Maybe this former classmate was doing better simply because of connections. Li Dezhou was obviously treating him carefully. But in terms of wealth, they still thought Li Junxiao was doing better. They hadn't expected him to drop 120 billion to buy a 7-star hotel. That alone was more than the Li family's entire fortune. Even his own father wasn't as successful as this guy. There was no comparison. He was completely outclassed. Li Junxiao forced a smile. He had completely abandoned any pride he might have had and started thinking about how to rebuild a relationship with Qin Yu. Maybe down the line, that connection could help him break into the wealthy scene. Gu Qianxi felt much the same way. How had she not realized they had such a hidden gem in their class? She chided herself for her short-sightedness. At the same time, she thought about Su Li's breakup. Su Li was seriously unlucky. Not only couldn't she compete with Li Junxiao, but she'd also lost a guy who was way more valuable than him. She'd dumped him, totally unaware of who he really was. If Su Li knew all this, would she regret it enough to jump? If Gu Qianxi were Su Li, she'd be going insane even if she didn't. Gu Qianxi just sat there, stunned. Qin Yu's light was so bright that it completely overshadowed Li Junxiao. "Qin, you've really surprised me. Makes me think you're the real deal and I'm just scraping by," Qiao Jinghua said admiringly. "When you can casually drop 30 billion, I know I'm not in your league. I seriously underestimated you." Hua's right. We're all beggars compared to Qin. I'm sticking with him from now on. Any little crumbs he throws my way will be enough for me, Jiang Xian said, laughing. "Don't tease me. It's not like I spent that money. It's just invested in the hotel. And if you think about it, it's not too difficult to do," Qin Yu said modestly. "Qin, don't be humble. Spending that kind of money to buy a 7-star hotel takes real financial power and guts. Here, let me offer you a toast. I'll drink up, it's up to you." Li Dezhou said with a smile, raising a small porcelain cup of white wine and downing it in one gulp. Qin Yu had no choice but to take a sip too. "Qin, I don't suppose you'd be interested in investing in real estate? I have a really solid project that's practically a sure thing," Li Dezhou said, seizing the opportunity. Qiao Jinghua's ears perked up. He looked at Qin Yu, waiting for his response. Qin Yu narrowed his eyes. Practically a sure thing was just a figure of speech. Only a fool would take it seriously. Investment was something he was interested in, but he wanted Tang Qin to set up her company first, so he could punt it over for her to look at. "Let's hear what you have to say, Li." Li Dezhou immediately launched into the development plan, its prospects, and future profits for the second phase of Tianhu's Century City. He said the total investment would be 230 billion, leaving a shortfall of 160 billion. However, with enough initial capital, plus the land, which would be 90 billion, they'd only be 40 billion short. He also pointed out that Qiao Jinghua was willing to invest 20 billion and Chen Jihang 5 million, so if Qin Yu was interested, he could put in 15 billion. They'd figure out the share distribution later. "So you've already invested 20 billion, so you're pretty confident in this project," Qin Yu said, looking at Qiao Jinghua. Qiao Jinghua said, "This real estate project has real potential. If you're interested, Qin, it would be a great investment." Qin Yu nodded, trusting Qiao Jinghua's word, but 15 billion felt low. Besides, the new company wasn't up and running yet, and Tang Qin didn't have time to oversee the investment. And for a mere 15 billion, he didn't think it was worth the effort. Then it hit him. Li Dezhou said he was still short 15 billion, but he didn't necessarily have to invest it directly. Qianhu Real Estate had a massive project about to go on sale. Buying up a few buildings directly would be easier than messing around with the investment, of course, that was only if it aligned with the system task. It seemed he'd spent 78 billion today, still 22 billion short of reaching level 5, Qin Yu's heart pounded. Another level 5 task, let's do this. Chapter 57 Buying 4 Buildings for Fun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boss Lee, I'm not really looking to invest right now. I've been swamped lately. If you're not in a huge rush to get this project off the ground, maybe we can talk later. Li Dezhou gave a wry smile. Young Master Qin, you're not wrong. The truth is, I am in a rush to find investors. Every day we delay starting construction on that land, Qianhu Real Estate is losing millions. Well, I don't know what I can do about that. It's alright. Since that's how you feel, I won't push it. We can work together another time. There will always be opportunities, Li Dezhou said with a forced smile. You mentioned you're still short 160 billion yuan in total investment. If we take out the 40 billion already spent, that leaves 120 billion for the later stages. If that 120 billion is up for grabs, I might be very interested then, Qin Yu said, thinking it over. Li Dezhou's eyes lit up. That's easy to say. I'll definitely hold you to that, Mr. Qin. I'll remember your words, so don't blame me for showing up on your doorstep down the road. Qin Yu smiled. Don't worry, Boss Lee, consider it a deal, anytime. Changing the subject, he added, even though I'm not investing right now, I've seen all the ads for Qianhu Real Estate everywhere. It looks like Qianhu Century City is officially opening for sales tomorrow. I might swing by, just to buy a couple of buildings for the heck of it. Wonder if Boss Lee can hook me up with a discount. Oh, young Master Qin wants to buy a house. Easy. Forget discounts, I'll just give you 2 apartments outright. Li Dezhou said generously. Suddenly, Li Junxiao whispered to him, Dad, young Master Qin said he wants 2 buildings, not 2 apartments. What? What was that? Young Master Qin, you mean you want to buy 2 buildings? Li Dezhou asked quickly, still not quite believing his ears. Yep, 2 buildings. Mr. Li, Qin just bought a mansion in Nanyun Mountain Villa for tens of millions. What would he want with a small apartment in your complex? Buying 2 buildings is more his style, Chen Jihang chimed in. Nanyun Villa, huh, Li Dezhou nodded. Young Master Qin bought a mansion there. Since you want to buy 2 buildings, that's solving a huge problem for me. Of course, I'll give you the best discount and let you pick out the buildings in the best location. Junxiao, which 2 buildings have the best locations in Qianhu Century City, and are completely empty, never been sold, Li Junxiao said, Dad, I haven't sold a house there myself. But buildings 3 and 5 have good locations. Okay, Li Dezhou nodded. Young Master Qin, how about those 2 buildings? What do you think? Sounds good. As for the price, this new urban area has really only started developing in the last few years, so prices aren't that high. A 130 square meter apartment is around 450 million. If a 38-story building were sold as a whole, it'd be 6.84 million at the original price. How about 5 million for you, young Master Qin? 5 million a building? Are you sure you're not losing money, Boss Lee? Qin Yu laughed. Don't worry, young Master Qin. To be honest, that price still includes a little profit after deducting costs. Alright, I don't want to take advantage of you. Let's say 5.5 million per building. Pick out 2 more for me. 4 buildings total, for 22 billion. Qin Yu said decisively. Young Master Qin, are you saying you want to buy 4 buildings, at 4 million each? Li Dezhou said, a little excited. That's right. I'll head to your sales office tomorrow to sign the purchase contracts. Qin Yu confirmed, now that's how a big spender rolls. Jiang Xian had seen Qin Yu act like this twice before, so he didn't bat an eye. Chen Zhihang had a bit of an understanding of Qin Yu's depth, so he also did not. Qiao Jinghua was slightly surprised. The two former classmates, Li Junxiao and Gu Qianxi, were the two with the greatest shock. What I saw today, I was shocked when I saw Qin Yu's unusual status, and then I was shocked when I learned that he spent 120 billion to buy this 7-star hotel, and I really felt the distance between Qin Yu and them. A few moments earlier Qin Yu had politely declined investing in the deal Li Dezhou was throwing out, and they mistakenly thought Qin Yu had no money. Now, with a snap of his fingers, he was buying 4 buildings for 22 billion, what can they say? They're speechless. Qin Yu had already become someone they looked up to, just like how Qin Yu looked up to them back then. Li Dezhou laughed and said, "Young Master Qin, you've won me over. You're not just taking care of my family's business, you're solving our biggest financial problem. Come on, let me propose another toast." He raised his glass. "I'm also part of Tianhu's Century City, and I'm involved in Boss Li's project too. Brother Qin is helping me out here as well. Let's all toast to Brother Qin," Qiao Jinghua said. Everyone raised their glasses, and Qin Yu had no choice but to finish another drink. The table was lively, and an hour later, the meal ended. Li Dezhou was the happiest, having achieved his goal and met a real whale like Qin Yu. After ordering the waiter to pay, he swapped contact info with Qin Yu and left with Li Junxiao and Gu Qianxi. Li Junxiao handed his business card to Qin Yu and told him that he would personally be in the sales office waiting for him. Soon, Qin Yu, Qiao Jinghua, Chen Zhihang, and Jiang Xian also left the private room. Down in the hotel lobby, Qiao Jinghua and Chen Zhihang were picked up by their drivers and left. Jiang Xian, a little drunk, called his driver, said goodbye to Qin Yu, and also headed off. Qin Yu had also had a few drinks and was about to head back to his hotel room for a nap. After walking a few steps, he noticed a group of people standing at the front desk: Tang Qin, Han Xian, the lobby manager Li Hang, and a man in his 40s. Curious, Qin Yu walked over. Seeing Tang Qin's serious face, he asked, "Tang Qin, what's going on here?" Tang Qin's stern expression softened immediately when she heard Qin Yu's voice. Smiling, she said, "Boss, you're here." "Boss." Han Xian greeted him quickly. Li Hang was overly enthusiastic, smiling and fawning. "Hello, Mr. Qin. It's our second time meeting. When we first met, I thought you were handsome, your appearance was absolutely extraordinary, and you were my role model. Look, this guy is about to become my boss. Give me any assignments you want. I'll definitely stand in front, do my best, and die, and that's it." Li Hang racked his brain for another word to flatter his new boss to show his loyalty. With the boss's attention, he'd soar like Tang Qin and Han Xian, but as he spoke, his throat choked up, his face changed from flattering to almost crying. From the corner of his eye, he could see Tang Qin glaring at him like a knife, her face turning cold. Chapter 58 The Proud Ma Wenxiu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It looks like he just stepped in at big time, trying to steal Tang Qin's thunder right in front of her. Ever since that impromptu meeting today, everyone's been buzzing about Qin Yu taking over the hotel. Chen Yichuan got canned and Han Xian's in charge now. But the real shocker. Tang Qin, who used to be just a regular employee, is now the deputy director, outranking even Han Xian. Since she got promoted, Tang Qin's like a whole new person, with a temper that could rival the old manager's. Messing with her now could mean serious trouble down the line. Han Xian noticed the look on Li Hang's face and glanced at Tang Qin, a smirk playing on her lips. Tang Qin isn't just the deputy director of Jiangyun Hotel, she's Qin Yu's right-hand woman. She's the only one who can talk to Qin Yu like that, and he wants to poach her. Good luck with that. After that one line, Li Hang clammed up. Qin Yu was confused, but didn't press the issue. He wasn't a fan of blatant flattery. You must be Chairman Qin. Didn't expect the new boss to be so young, real go-getter. I'm Yen Pike, the hotel's deputy general manager. Pleased to meet you, Chairman Qin. Another guy, looked to be in his 40s, figured out who Qin Yu was and jumped in to introduce himself. Qin Yu gave a slight smile. So you're Vice President Yen. I'm counting on you to keep things running smoothly. Work with President Han to get the job done, and you'll get noticed. There'll be promotions and raises in it for you. Yan Pike beamed. Hearing that from you, Qin Dong, I can relax. I'll do my best to make you happy. Qin Yu picked up the earlier thread with Tang Qin. What's going on? Why is everyone just standing around? Tang Qin explained, well, I've got all the paperwork ready. I was heading out to do that thing you asked me to, and figured I'd grab a car from the front. They're usually short on vehicles this time of day, but after checking, there's a special car available, the Rolls-Royce you used last time. And? So, I asked a security guard to bring it around, but he couldn't find it. Then I checked with the housekeeping and front desk, but nobody knew where it was. So, I called Vice President Yan, thinking he might know something. I wanted to ask the security department, but their manager wasn't there. So, I've got another security guard looking into it now. I see. That's weird. I was just in that car yesterday, and now it's gone. Qin Yu said. He wasn't too concerned about a missing car, it's just a car. It's more that Tang Qin needed it for him, and that's what mattered. Director Tang, I've found it. Just then, a security guard came running up, sweating bullets. Zhang Xiao, you know who took the car. Tang Qin knew the guard and used his name. Everyone's attention snapped to the security guard. Zhang Xiao stood up straight and reported, Director Tang, Manager Zhang from our security department took the car. Said a hotel guest needed it. He shot Tang Qin a quick glance, impressed. 1 minute he was feeling sorry for her, the next she's the hotel's vice chairman. You couldn't make this stuff up. So, Manager Zhang took it for a guest. Yan Pike jumped in, sounding disapproving. All the hotel cars are the security guard's responsibility. Manager Zhang taking one for a guest without reporting it to the front desk. No wonder we couldn't find it. Li Heng kept quiet, but felt a wave of relief wash over him. Tang Qin pressed, Zhang Xiao, did you find out who Manager Zhang gave the car to? Director Tang, I asked around, and they said it was for Mr. Ma's younger sister. Got it. Tang Qin nodded and said to Li Heng, go find out which room Ma Wenxiu is staying in. Right away, Director Tang. Li Heng immediately had the front desk look up Ma Wenxiu's room information. They found it quickly. She's in a regular luxury suite, room 1505, on the 5th floor. Costs less than $1,000 a night. Tang Qin scoffed. So she's not entitled to a special car at all, but Manager Zhang not only failed to report it, but gave a very expensive car to an ordinary guest. He's neglecting his duties, and disrespecting the hotel's rules. Director Tang, look, that's Ms. Ma Wenxiu, she's coming into the hotel. Li Heng, sharp as ever, spotted Ma Wenxiu walking into the lobby. Hearing this, Tang Qin turned towards the entrance and, sure enough, saw Ma Wenxiu sauntering in with a smug look on her face. She sneered, managerly, go ask her for the car keys back. We're not letting people like that use it anymore. Yes, Director Tang, I'm on it. Li Heng responded and hurried towards Ma Wenxiu. He wasn't taking any chances with Tang Qin. Even if asking Ma Wenxiu for the keys meant burning a bridge with his old boss, he knew who was calling the shots now. Ma Wenxiu's mood had been a roller coaster these past few days. Yesterday, she was in the dumps over losing $1 million and totaling her new car. If her brother hadn't loaned her the money, she wouldn't know where to come up with the cash, but today, she was riding high. She'd used her brother's influence to fire the woman she hated most. Even better, she was about to take over as the human resources manager at this 7-star hotel when the current manager retired. The hotel chairman had personally approved it, so there were no obstacles in the way. With her brother as the general manager and her in a top management position, she'd rule the roost in this hotel. Losing that $1 million was nothing, she'd make it back in no time. As Ma Wenxiu strutted into the lobby, sizing up the hotel staff like her own underlings, a voice stopped her in her tracks. Miss Ma, hold on a second. I need to ask you something. Manager Li, what do you want? Ma Wenxiu stopped and faced Li Heng. Miss Ma, it's about the keys to one of our special cars. Could you return them to me now? Li Heng asked with a polite smile. That's right. Ma Wenxiu's eyes narrowed. Manager Li, are you sure you have the right person? I'm a guest here. It's normal to borrow a car. Miss Ma, you're mistaken. The service you have with your room does not include a special car. Since you're being like that, Manager Li, I'll be frank. Manager Zhang from security gave me this car. If you have a problem with it, take it up with him. Ma Wenxiu's face hardened. Manager Zhang's actions were against protocol. Miss Ma, please don't make this difficult. Just hand over the keys and we can all move on. Li Heng stood his ground. Chapter 59. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's the holdup, Miss Ma, Manager Li? Zhang Zhong asked, walking in and spotting them immediately. He'd had something to do that morning, so he'd missed the high-level meeting and was completely in the dark about the hotel's change in ownership and management. Perfect timing, Manager Zhang, Ma Wenxiu said, looking annoyed. Manager Li here is trying to take the hotel car keys from me. Should I hand them over, or what? Hold on, Li Heng, are you serious? Zhang Zhong scoffed, looking at Li Heng like he was out of his mind. Don't you know Miss Ma is Mr. Ma's sister? She's about to be head of HR. She doesn't have a car right now, so the hotel's letting her use one of theirs. Why are you sweating the small stuff? Just then, another voice chimed in. Manager Zhang, it's because of you giving away the hotel's car to a guest that you have landed in this mess. Who gave you the right? Ma Wenxiu recognized the voice and turned, her face falling when she saw who it was. Tang Qin, it's you. A sneer twisted her lips. Did you run to Manager Li to complain, hoping he'd strong-arm me for the keys and get back at me? That's pathetic. Take a look at your current standing, what you're doing is useless. Zhang Zhong knew Tang Qin too. Tang Qin, you don't work here anymore. This isn't your business. You need to leave. Manager Zhang, you sure sound confident. Boss Yan, you're here too. Zhang Zhong realized the hotel's vice president was present, and he started to sweat. He also noticed Han Xian and Mr. Qin standing behind him. The pieces clicked into place. They were all here to back Tang Qin up. Manager Zhang, this has gone too far. You need to get those keys back from Ms. Ma, pronto, Yan Pike said, his tone sharp. He was publicly scolding Zhang Zhong, but he wanted to help him get out of the situation. If he'd known about the tension between Tang Qin and Ma Wenxiu, he wouldn't have said anything. Zhang Zhong, oblivious, doubled down. Mr. Yan, you don't understand. Ms. Ma is Mr. Zhang's sister, and she's about to be head of HR. Chairman Yun thinks very highly of her. Miss Ma's car is in the shop, so this is a temporary favor. Even if Mr. Ma knew about it, he wouldn't be upset. Yan Pike blinked, then remembered Zhang Zhong hadn't heard about the change in ownership. He wouldn't be so cocky if he did. He shot Zhang Zhong a sympathetic look. Knowing Ma Wenxiu was the old general manager's sister, he wisely shut his mouth. The new boss had ousted the former general manager. Everyone could tell that the boss didn't like Ma Yichuan. Zhang Zhong was really sticking his neck out for this Ma Wenxiu. He was asking for trouble. Zhang Zhong, you've seriously violated hotel policy and acted against the hotel's interests. Han Xian, as the new general manager, felt it was time to step in. She turned respectfully to Qin Yu. Boss, how should we handle this? All eyes shifted to Qin Yu. Boss? Zhang Zhong and Ma Wenxiu exchanged confused glances, their faces a question mark. Qin Yu's expression didn't soften. What else is there to do? Since this manager disregarded regulations and shows no remorse, he's fired. No second chances. As for Ms. Ma, get the keys back, and forget about any promotion for her. Okay, boss, I'll take care of it, Han Xian said quickly. Wait, how did Mr. Qin become the owner? Zhang Zhong stammered, trying to process what he'd heard. He's the owner. Ma Wenxiu laughed, the sound brittle. That's the joke of the century. I met the real owner, Mr. Yun, this morning. Now you're telling me Mr. Qin owns the hotel. What is this, some kind of performance? Stop insulting my intelligence. Ms. Ma, Manager Zhang, allow me to explain. Li Heng saw his moment to shine, and cleared his throat. Seeing their attention on him, he smiled. Mr. Qin has bought all the shares in the hotel, including Yun Jinang's. That makes him the one and only big boss of Jiangyun Hotel. Ma Yichuan is no longer the general manager. Ms. Han Xian is the new GM. And Miss Tang Qin is now the hotel's vice president. Got it? Li Heng, is what you're saying true? Zhang Zhong asked, his face paling. Every word of it, Yan Pike confirmed. Zhang Zhong's face crumpled. If even Yan Pike admitted it, it had to be true. He desperately tried to plead with Qin Yu, but his throat seemed to seize up. Mr. Qin. Mr. Qin, I messed up. Can you forgive me just this once? I promise to change. It'll never happen again. Sorry, I'm not your boss anymore. Those words were a splash of ice water, extinguishing Zhang Zhong's last spark of hope. Mr. Qin, please, another chance. For all my years of hard work here, give me some credit. You. Shut it, Zhang Zhong. If Chairman Qin has spoken, you should know it's useless to say these things. All that hard work. You've made a fortune from all the shady deals you've been doing here the last few years. You think I don't know? There's no need for me to list them one by one, Yan Pike said with a sneer. I. Zhang Zhong looked defeated, utterly speechless. Ma Wenxiu's face was as white as a sheet. This had to be a nightmare. She pinched her arm, and winced at the pain. This wasn't a dream, it's just that these people are conspiring to deceive her. Everything had shifted in an instant. Her brother was no longer in charge, and that loathsome Mr. Qin was now the owner, and Tang Qin had somehow become the vice president of a 7-star hotel, a position even higher than her brother's old job. It was almost comical. Her phone suddenly rang. It was her brother, Ma Yichuan. Seizing a glimmer of hope, Ma Wenxiu snatched up the call. The conversation was brief. After she hung up, she stood there for a long moment, completely lost. She glared at Tang Qin, her lips moving as if to speak, but she ultimately held back. She pulled the car key from her purse, tossed it to Li Heng, and walked away without a word. Watching Ma Wenxiu go, Tang Qin exhaled slowly, a sense of satisfaction washing over her. Chairman Qin. Yan Pike glanced at Zhang Zhong, then raised a pressing issue. The housekeeping and security manager positions are both vacant, and old Lu in HR is about to retire. We need to fill those 3 spots ASAP, or the hotel operations will suffer badly, especially with the housekeeping manager. Chapter 60 Qiao Zhenfeng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hearing that, Qin Yu decided not to overthink things. Han Xian and Mr. Yan can decide on the housing department manager and HR manager, he said. Tang Qin, any suggestions for the security manager position? Tang Qin replied, Boss, how about we let Zhang Xiao fill in as the security manager for now? He's been a security guard here for 8 years and is a really dedicated worker. What do you think? Qin Yu nodded. Whatever you think is best. Zhang Xiao felt like he'd been struck by lightning. His heart was pounding. At 40, he had long given up on the idea of promotions or raises. He figured he'd be stuck as an ordinary hotel security guard earning a measly 5,000 yuan salary for the rest of his life. He never imagined an opportunity like this would come his way. He quickly blurted out, Thank you, Mr. Qin. Thank you, Ms. Tang. Li Heng watched, green with envy. He wondered when his lucky break would come. Ever since Qin Yu took over the hotel, Han Xian and Tang Qin were the ones who benefited most. Now, he could only look up to them. If he'd known this was coming, he would have latched onto Qin Yu the moment he met him. 10 minutes later, in the same Rolls-Royce, Tang Qin was driving, and Qin Yu was in the back seat. Qin Yu's main goal was to pick up his Bugatti Dark Knight Wind at Nanyangxing. Tang Qin was taking him there first, then they'd go register the new company. After his morning sprint to catch a taxi, Qin Yu realized how much he needed a car. Still feeling a bit hungover, he dozed off in the back. He opened his eyes as they pulled into Nanyangxing. he got out and headed towards the car dealership entrance alone. "Hey, you looking for a used car too, kid?" Someone shouted from behind. He turned to see a bald guy with a massive tattoo on his arm, holding a young woman's arm, also heading to the dealership. "Yeah, so?" Qin Yu frowned. The bald guy smirked. "Think you're in the right place? I'm guessing you're here for a used car. But these ain't cheap. Even used, they're gonna cost you over 10 grand, and some are millions. I've even seen some worth tens of millions. Just a heads up, money doesn't grow on trees. If you're looking for a used car for a few grand, you're wasting your time. Ain't nothing that cheap here." Qin Yu was surprised. How could this guy tell he couldn't afford a car here? He was even wearing brand-name clothes that he bought with Tang Qin, so he didn't look broke. Was he really that average-looking? He doubted this guy's judgment. Slightly annoyed, he asked, "You here to buy a car too?" "You bet." The bald guy pointed to his Mercedes parked behind him. "This is my ride. Cost about 2 million. Brought my girl here today to buy her something. Can't quite swing a 100 million sports car, even if it's used." The woman, clearly flattered, cooed, "Thanks, Biao. You're the best." The bald guy chuckled, patted his bald head, and said to Qin Yu, "Keep grinding, pal. Maybe one day you'll be rolling like me and buy a sports car." Spotting a car saleswoman heading their way, he added, "Look, the saleswoman's coming to greet me. Gotta run. Don't waste your time here if you ain't got the cash." He dragged the woman towards the approaching saleswoman. Qin Yu's expression turned strange. He recognized the saleswoman. It was Su Wei, from his last visit. Seeing Su Wei approach, the bald guy stopped, ready to be greeted by the attractive saleswoman, but instead, she walked straight past him, her pace quickening as she approached Qin Yu. She gave a deep bow and said excitedly, "Hi, Mr. Qin. Welcome. Here to pick up your car, right?" Qin Yu nodded. "That's right. Just take me there. Is Ms. Yun around?" "She's in her office with 2 guests. If you want to check the car first, you should go see her. Then I won't bother her. Just want to drive the car off." "Okay, Mr. Qin, this way please." Qin Yu and Su Wei walked off together. "Hold on, so you already bought a car and know Ms. Yun?" The bald guy was stunned and asked Qin Yu. Qin Yu glanced at him and nodded. "Yup. Problem?" No, brother, you misunderstood. Just joking around. Please don't take anything I said to heart. I was talking out of turn," he stammered, forcing a smile. Qin Yu smirked and followed Su Wei into the car dealership. Guangnan wiped the sweat from his brow. "Good thing I didn't offend him too badly." "Biao, why are you suddenly so scared of that guy?" the woman asked, puzzled. "What do you know? Didn't you hear that saleswoman call him Mr. Qin? And he knows Ms. Yun. He's gotta be some rich kid. Almost messed up myself." He pulled the woman into the dealership. Qin Yu, following Su Wei, quickly went up to the 4th floor and entered the small showroom where the Dark Night Wind was kept. "Mr. Qin, because your car is so expensive, we had it prepped in a sealed container and took it to complete the ownership transfer process. After bringing it back, we didn't dare put it in the regular delivery area, so we put it in this private exhibit area," Su Wei explained, unlocking the room. Qin Yu nodded approvingly. "You guys are very thoughtful." As the lights came on, he saw the ghost-like supercar once more. Compared to last time, the paint seemed even shinier, and the surface looked like it was covered with black starlight, shimmering with vibrant colors. The new license plate was now mounted on the front and back. Looking at the string of 6 nines on the plate, he thought, maybe only a license plate this awesome could match this car. "Mr. Qin, one moment, I will get the car's file and keys." "Sure, go ahead." Su Wei left. When she returned, she carried a bulging file bag. And behind her were 3 others. Yun Chaoting was there, along with a middle-aged man with a hunchback and 2 scars on his face. The other man was a plump, handsome young man in his 30s. He had an aura of youth and refinement. But Qin Yu sensed a hint of darkness in his eyes. "Mr. Qin, your car is ready, and we've cleaned it inside and out. I hope you like it," Yun Qiaoting said with a smile, but there was a hint of casualness in her tone. "I'm very happy with it, Ms. Yun, thank you. Looks like this gentleman bought this car. I came by today to check it out, and Ms. Yun had told me it was already sold." The young man smiled at Qin Yu. "I just happened to run into you while I was coming to pick it up. Is there anything you want from me?" Qin Yu asked, confused. "Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Qiao Zhenfeng from Shijiang City. I wonder who you are and what family you come from." The young man introduced himself, sizing up Qin Yu, trying to get a read on him.